What's up? Ha ha. What a day yesterday, right? Um, man, guys, if you hung in there, if you didn't panic sell, or you bought the dip, or you just hung on and didn't sell, and you made it through to yesterday, congratulations, man. Pat yourself on the back. All right. You deserve that win. You deserve that win. All right. And I think that, you know, there's a journey in investing, like all things in life. You know what I mean? You don't wake up at anything being an expert on day one. There's a lot of mistakes you have to make along the way. And Lord knows I made my share of mistakes in life. And but it's how you feel after you make that mistake, right? Like if you sold in panic at the bottom and you let your emotions get the better of you, and then you saw yesterday how everything just went in like 10 minutes. All the money was made back in literally 10 minutes. And that's how fast things go, you know? And if you saw that and you had a feeling, like I made this post yesterday on Facebook and Twitter, like if you feel that, whatever your fear was that you had that made you sell, that you were going to lose, right? If the fear of missing out on yesterday's gains because you sold is greater, right? The despair you feel is more than the fear that made you sell, then that's a positive sign. Learn from that. Do you know what I mean? Remember that feeling because the market is volatile. It is what it is. And there's a lot of change happening right now in the world. There's a lot of change happening in economies and trade and all these different things. And when you go and you change things and you mess with the status quo, creates volatility, But if you have a long-term outlook and you have a specific plan, volatility is your friend, right? Michael Saylor always says volatility is vitality, right? Volatility is life. So, if you can stomach that and you have a good plan and you recognize opportunities when they're thrown in your lap, then that's a good thing, and you got to make some mistakes to get there. You're looking at a guy who panic sold Solana at the end of 2022 for $8, right? I can admit that, right? But, that was the last time I ever like panic did anything in the market because I was like, yo, what is, then I learned about Solana. I really did my research and I understood. And that's a mistake that we make when we first start investing, right? We get into the hype and we buy things because we've seen a video or this one told you about it, or, you think you're going to get rich, whatever it is. And we don't really have a plan. So when life happens and punches you in the face and the market loses 10, 15% in a day, then it does it again, then it does it again, you freak out and you're like, oh my God, I got to dump everything. And then all of a sudden, one tweet right to the top, And so I believe that there's 10 days a year where all the money's made in markets, right? And if you take the gains of those 10 days out over a long period of time, you don't make any money. So what does that mean? That means that a week ago, Thursday, Friday, right? When the market was dipping and everything was dropping out, or in Monday, right? If you sold in a panic during that time, trying to time the market because you're like, oh, it's going to go down more, guy. I know it's going down more. I'm going to catch the bottom. You never can catch the bottom. You never can catch the top. Lesson number one in any investing, you'll never time bottoms or tops. It just ain't happening. There's AI, there's computers that run these markets. We're never going to catch that. So get that out of your head, okay? But if you're out of the market and you missed those bumps and you lost everything, you booked that loss, you didn't get it back, So that's why it's a cliche, but it's true, right? Time in the market beats timing the market. So just set your positions, understand what you're investing, realize why things are happening on a global scale. If it's only your stock, like if you owned Enron on the day that everything broke about yeah, you have to sell that. Like everything changed about the investment. You know what I mean? You own like GM the first time they went bankrupt and they just wiped out your shares and you knew that was coming. Yeah, bro, sell that. Like the underlying investment thesis is garbage. It changed. You have to exit that position. But if your position is diving with everything else because the whole market is in turmoil, because there's all these things happening that are bigger than any one stock or crypto, then just hold the line. You know what I mean? Like, Time in the market beats timing the market. And if you try to get too cute with it and you try to outsmart the machines, you're going to lose. And then you're going to, and what is the point is not to lose and be poor, right? The point is we all deserve to be rich, right? There's an abundance of money in the world. There's more money than any of us will ever need. I firmly believe that. And every single one of you out there deserves as much of it as you can get. And that's 100%. So the question is, what are you going to do and how are you going to go get it? And that's the journey that I'm on, right? Because I know my plan. I know what I'm worth. And I'm out there and I'm going to get there, hell or high water, right? And if I don't, it was a hell of a ride, okay? So, so everything, amazing day yesterday, record-setting days on some stocks or whatever, and today it goes down a little bit. That nothing goes up in a straight line forever. There was one funny thing yesterday that happened. I didn't catch it in real time, but I seen it after. And, everybody was mad at Trump because Trump at 9 a.m. posted at 9:37, this is a great time to buy, right? And everyone's like, oh, he's manipulating the markets, And then at 1:18 p.m., he posted that he was pulling back the tariffs. And literally in 10 minutes, everything just went to the moon, right? So people are like, oh, that's so terrible of him. He's making fun of you. No, he's not. Like, whatever, man. Like, if you're waiting on Trump to give you investment advice, you lost. You lost. You know what I mean? There was some congressman from Nevada, which I always thought I could live in Las Vegas. But then I seen this dope yesterday that was in front of Congress and just crying about this and WTFing. And, I was like, all right, buddy, whatever. You're kind of making me think I don't want to go to Vegas. But, so yeah, I just thought that was really funny. And, all right. And then just a couple little things about Tesla I wanted to share that came out yesterday. So Tesla, SpaceX, Twitter, right? 3 separate companies, but they all have this, like, they work together. And there's a lot of overlap that if you're a Tesla investor is beneficial. So one thing yesterday, Elon confirmed it, and this has been known for a little while, but SpaceX is sending Starship to Mars next year. I guess every 3 or 4 years, it's advantageous to go to Mars. It's whatever it is. So next year is one of those times. And guess what's going to be on Starship? The Optimus bot, which is Tesla's new AI robot, and they're sending it to Mars. You know what I mean? There was something I shared the other day. I forgot to grab it for this live stream, but there was something I shared the other day, and that's where I was going with this. In June, so if you remember Amazon, if you're my age, right? If you're young, you don't remember this part of Amazon. But if you remember Amazon when they first started, what did they start as? They started as a book company. Jeff Bezos moved to Seattle. If you ever read his life story, it's an amazing story. There's a book that I read one time that was his story. And he moved to Seattle. He started Amazon to sell books. And that's what they were. They were an online bookseller. Now, fast forward 25, 30 years, when you think of Amazon, is the first thing you think of books anymore? If you're my age, maybe, right? Like, but really, no, right? Like, Amazon is so much bigger than that. And the connection is Tesla. Right now, we think of Tesla as a car company, but in June, all that's going to change. All right, because they're testing cybercabs in Austin. That's the beginning of the AI transformation. And in 10, 15 years, we won't think of cars when we think of Tesla. We're going to think of these bots, right? We're going to think of the AI power and all of that. So they're sending the Optimus bot that Tesla's developing that I think is going to change the world. And it is a major component of my investment thesis in the company. They're sending it to Mars. So if the damn thing works on Mars, guys, it's going to work just fine on Earth. And I thought, how cool would it be if they threw a Cybertruck in there too, right? And imagine like the Optimus bot is cruising around Mars in a Cybertruck. Dude, game over, right? No other car company is doing that. I don't know. Honda, I think, makes robots. Are they sending them to Mars? Absolutely not. So Tesla is not a car company, guys. And very soon in the near future, that transition is going to happen. And it's going to be so obvious in 10 years that they're not a car company. Just like it's so obvious today that Amazon is not a book-selling company, okay? Amazon changed the world with everything they built. You can literally order something right now, and it'll be at your doorstep by the time you get home tonight. Like, that is mind-blowing, right? They changed the expectation, they changed consumer behavior, they changed supply lines, they changed transportation as far as distributing goods in the last mile. They did so much that's so obvious now, Amazon Web Services, that 20 years ago when they were just selling books seemed like craziness. Okay. And now go back and research the stock price and how it's grown in that time. All right. And this is a common theme for me, right? Is where things go and how they change. And then the last thing coming up, and this is the tie-in now with Tesla with Twitter, right? So Grok, according to Grok itself, right? Whatever, I think it's a guy, but girl, whatever you think it is, but itself, someone said, let's make Teslas better. What do you all want for 2026? And someone commented, how about Grok on the cars? And Grok said, on my way. So that's like one software update where you can literally be in your Tesla and have a conversation with Grok totally integrated. Like, imagine how cool that would be. Like, Grok, I'm going to the office. I need a coffee, man. Or Grok, hey, look, that's my friend over there. Just pull over. We got to pick him up. Then we're going to go, with the parking garages around the corner. We're going to go park in there. Imagine you could talk to your car like a driver. I think that day is coming. But all right, guys. So this one's short and sweet. I just wanted to say, if you hung in there and you rode this whole turmoil time through, congratulations. Pat yourself on the back. All right. If you made some mistakes, that's okay. It's okay. Make the mistakes, but learn from them. And if you want to be a better investor, if you want to grow in investing and build your stack and get the money that you deserve, the money that's out there that you deserve, right? There's an abundance of money in the universe or in the world, and there's more than enough for everybody to go around, and we all deserve it, and this is one way to get it, so you deserve it. Learn your lessons, do better next time. If you made mistakes, if you executed it well and you feel good about what you did, pat yourself on the back. That was a challenging week, and we're not out of the woods yet. Nothing's solved. There's still more turmoil and volatility to come, but volatility is vitality, guys. All right. So take it easy. Keep an eye on the market. I want to see Optimus bot on Mars next year with a Cybertruck. That would be so awesome. All right, guys. See you later. Thanks.